Let's be honest about something. Most of the change we want in life never comes from the big decisions. It comes from the tiny moments, the little choices we don't think twice about. But the problem is, most of us wait for motivation. We wait for a new beginning, or a perfect Monday, or a sudden spark that pushes us to improve. And while we wait, days go by, weeks go by, and our life quietly stays the same. I used to do this a lot, telling myself, one day I'll wake up early, or I'll start being more productive when life slows down. But that moment never came. And the truth I eventually learned is simple but painful. Your life doesn't change when you make a huge decision. It changes when you repeat small behaviors, consistently, even when nobody notices. So in this video, I want to share 10 tiny habits that transformed my life quietly, almost secretly, over the past few years. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming, just small, almost invisible actions I repeated, until one day I realized I'm not the person I used to be. By the end of this video, you'll have a simple list of habits that you can start today, even if you're tired, busy, or not feeling your best. Let's begin. Habit 1. The 5-minute landing ritual. Every time I enter my room, I do one tiny action that resets my space. Sometimes it's putting my water bottle on the table, sometimes it's folding one piece of clothing, sometimes it's placing my notebook where I'll see it. It's not cleaning, it's not organizing, it's simply landing, telling my brain, I'm here, I'm present, I'm grounded. This one habit reduces stress more than most people realize. Habit 2. One line of journaling. Not a full-page entry, not a deep emotional essay, just one line, something like, today felt heavy but I still showed up. Or, I'm grateful for the small wins. One line is tiny, but it keeps you connected to your inner world. It keeps life from passing in a blur. Habit 3. The 10-second reset. Whenever I catch myself spiraling, I pause. I inhale deeply for 3 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 5. It takes less than 10 seconds, but it interrupts emotional momentum, which is often the difference between a calm response and a bad decision. This habit alone improved my relationships more than anything else. Habit 4. Leave one thing unfinished. On purpose. Here's a strange one. At the end of each day, I leave one task slightly undone. Not in a stressful way, not something urgent, something simple, like a sentence I'm writing or a tab I need to review. This creates a soft starting point for tomorrow. Instead of facing a blank page, I wake up to something already in motion. Momentum becomes automatic. Habit 5. Drink water. Before checking your phone. It sounds too simple, but it's powerful. Most mornings, the first hit of dopamine comes from the phone notifications, messages, scrolling. But when you drink water first, you teach your brain that the day starts with your body, not with the world's demands. It's a tiny form of self-respect. Habit 6. Put things where they go, not where they fit. I used to place items wherever there was space. Keys on the bed, notebooks on the couch, headphones anywhere. The problem is, this creates invisible mental clutter. So now everything has a home. Even if that home is a single box or drawer, this tiny habit saves more time than any productivity app. Habit 7. Read one paragraph a day, not a chapter. Not 20 pages, just one paragraph. This is how I accidentally finished more books in a year than ever before, because starting is always harder than continuing. And one paragraph almost always turns into a few more. Reading became a lifestyle, not a pressure. Habit 8. The nighttime future me. Favor. Before bed, I do something that makes tomorrow easier. Sometimes it's preparing clothes. Sometimes it's closing all browser tabs. Sometimes it's setting out a fresh page in my notebook. A 5-second gesture that says, I care about who I'll be tomorrow. Over time, these tiny favors build self-trust. Habit 9. Celebrate the invisible wins. We're good at celebrating milestones, grades, promotions, big achievements, but we're terrible at celebrating the tiny things, choosing water over soda, getting out of bed when it's hard, writing 2 sentences, saying no to something draining. So now, each night, I take a moment to acknowledge one tiny thing I did right. It sounds small, but it strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who grows, even quietly. Habit 10. Touch your goal. Daily. Literally. Whatever my main goal is, I touch something related to it every day. If I'm learning a language, I touch the textbook. If I'm writing, I touch the notebook or keyboard. If I'm studying, I touch the folder or flashcards. This creates a physical anchor, a reminder that the goal exists every day, not just on productive days. Some days I only touch it. Some days I study for hours. But the connection stays unbroken. When I first tried the 1 paragraph a day rule, I honestly laughed at myself. I thought, how is this going to change anything? But after a few weeks, something surprising happened. I stopped seeing reading as a chore. My brain stopped resisting it because the expectation was so tiny. And because it was tiny, I did it consistently. And because I did it consistently, it grew. Another example, the future me favor. There was a time when I used to wake up to a messy desk, papers everywhere, open tabs, unfinished tasks. It created stress before the day even started. But when I began leaving a clean, calm environment for myself, my mornings changed. Not dramatically, quietly. These stories aren't big. They're not meant to be inspiring in a cinematic way. They're meant to be realistic, because your life is shaped more by what you repeat than what you dream. But there are a few things to be careful about. Pitfall 1. Expecting big results. Quickly, tiny habits work slowly, so slow that sometimes you'll feel like nothing is happening. But trust the compounding effect. Pitfall 2. Doing too many new habits at once. Start with 1 or 2. If you try all 10 at the same time, you'll burn out. Pitfall 3. Turning tiny habits into big tasks. The moment these habits stop being tiny, they stop working. Remember, 1 line, 1 paragraph, 1 gesture. Keep it small. Let's recap the 10 tiny habits. A 5-minute landing ritual, 1 line of journaling. The 10-second reset. Leave 1 thing unfinished. Drink water before your phone. Put things where they belong. Read 1 paragraph a day. A nighttime favor for your future self. Celebrate the invisible wins. Touch your goal daily. None of these habits are dramatic, but together they reshape your identity, quietly, gently, consistently. If you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to begin, start with the smallest habit that feels doable today, because tiny habits aren't about changing your life overnight. They're about proving to yourself, little by little, that change is possible. If you found this helpful, feel free to like the video, subscribe for more slow, meaningful self-improvement ideas, and share which tiny habit you're starting with today. And remember, transformation doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's gentle. And sometimes it begins with 1 tiny habit.